sometimes I just dream about going to space.
Give us clues to what it looks like from way up there.
Roger. I can see the entire Earth now out of the center window. I can see Florida, Cuba, Central America, the whole northern half.
In this video, I'm going to build this to remind me of that dream.
Hey, you picked a good day for it.
This past summer I was traveling a bit through Europe and I experienced something I've never experienced before. We went to the border between the German and the Austrian Alps and we went up this cable car or this lift to a mountain, and I've been on mountains before, but this was something else. We went up around 3,000 meters or 9,800 feet and the view up there was out of this world. It felt like being on another planet, looking down at the mountains that were like 2,000 meters or something. And it made me think about, like, how does it feel being on top of Mount Everest? Or how does it feel going to space? Like being in the International Space Station or being on the moon. Just compare these two, like I was 3 kilometers up and that felt incredible. But the moon, that's like 300,000 kilometers. Just comparing these, I can't even imagine the feeling of looking down at the Earth from that altitude. But I've always dreamed about going to space, and probably everyone has.
Separation sequence is completed.
And I hope we will in the future. But until then, I want to build something that will remind me of this dream. So I've decided I'm going to create like this mechanical sculpture that I did last year, but with a biker. And this year, I want to make this mechanical sculpture of an astronaut, like experiencing zero gravity or something. We'll see how it goes. Let's do it. Okay, so now I have an idea of how the whole thing should work. I have to have this smooth motion of the arms and legs moving in slow motion. I'll show you the first idea first. I thought about making like an astronaut that is attached by threads from a roof, and then you spin a knob and a gear is turning and it lifts up different anchor points in the arms or legs to make the astronaut fly. But that's going to be messy, I think, so I'm going to instead use all the mechanisms from underneath to push up the arms and legs with small sticks or something. So now it's time to create the actual astronaut. And well, this is the 3-step guide to making a plastic astronaut that can move. First thing, I had to figure out how the arms and the knees should work, and I found something called a ball and socket joint, which basically is a ball and then some area in between and a socket, and that makes it possible for it to move. So I built that and printed it, and well, it worked. Next up, it was creating the actual leg. And the last step was creating the astronaut. Now I'm finally done with the astronaut and I've started to build the box underneath that will have all the mechanical parts in it. And I was wondering how you can convert like circular motion into linear motion. So I googled it and there are a ton of different ways, but one of them is something called cam and follower method. You use this like circular forms that you can like deform in different ways, which will push up a stick and create a linear motion based on how the circle is formed. So if you have an ellipse, it will create a different version from if you have a regular circle. So I tried to implement that into a box and attach like 3 of these cams to a stick that I can rotate, and then have these different anchor points in the legs, arms and back, and that will be pushed up by the cams. So let's try to print it and we'll see how it goes. so you probably want to see how it works. And let's spin it. I don't know. First, its leg looks like it's broken, and secondly, it doesn't really look like it's zero gravity. It more looks like it's shaking. It's not bad, but I think I have to do a version 2. A version 2 that maybe has larger gears and only pushes it in one direction. If I only use one anchor point like this, and I think the motion has to happen slower as well, because now we have small gears and everything is happening very, very fast. Yeah, so let's redo it. So because that didn't really work, I've started to build this new prototype, and this second one uses like a large gear instead, and that will push up like only one stick in the back of the Astronaut. Hopefully that will make a smoother motion instead of having like 4 different anchor points in the Astronaut. So I split up the gears and the other parts, and I will print them in pink and white. And then we'll see how it all comes together. Let's go to the printer. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. I printed, because I printed them in different parts, I didn't think about making a hole in the box so I can put the big gear inside. So I can't get the gear inside of the box. Either I reprint it, and that's going to take like 15 hours and require a lot of plastic again. So I've tried to use a kitchen knife to cut the sticks in the middle away, the rails, and it works. It's a very, very sketchy solution, but it works. It's done, I'm finally finished. It was a really fun project to make. It took quite a while, but it was fun. And let's cue the reveal.
The crew of Apollo 8 now settle down to the routine of the outward flight. Systems checks. Observation.